Hello everybody, welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube and Twitch channels, and holy crap, Twitch has actually allowed it so that you can multi-stream without being like punished and shit. Isn't this amazing? So hopefully my Twitch stream won't get throttled anymore and I can successfully multi-stream now. So yeah, oh of course. I'm talking live, so I should start yawning. Right, of course. Thank you, body. So it's been a productive morning already. I've been to the psychiatrist. I actually have one now. It wasn't just a one-off freaking consult. So that's awesome. I've got a counseling intake on Thursday. So that's awesome. Just a whole bunch of actual good, helpful mental health things are happening. Which is great. That is what we need to have happening. This is all a good thing. So I hope everyone is also having a good Monday. It's getting freaking colder, unfortunately, but oh well. That is what it does every year. It sucks, but it's life. At least today the sun is out. It was doing a lot of raining over the weekend, and that sucks when it's fall and cold, because then you really can't do anything. If it's sunny, you can at least go outside with like some extra layers of clothing on. But when it's raining in the fall, it's just cold and wet and blech. So, yeah, at least the sun is out today. That's good. That is a happy thing. So, we have lots of different things to look at today. Reddit stuff, videos, just all sorts of fun. I am going to pop Twitch chat open on my computer because the phone app does not read it to me properly. I'm still trying to work my way through watching the East Coast Throwdown, which was the first professional offline tournament on the Pro Competition Tour for Mortal Kombat. And it looks like Sonic Fox is having a lot of problems had a lot of problems in this tournament. It feels like he didn't do much practicing. It feels like he felt like he didn't need to. But Ninja Killa for sure is gave him a hard time. I still don't know who won, whether it was him or no, it was Sonic Fox that won finally, but Ninja Killa made him work for it. It was not an easy sweep for Sonic Fox, as tournaments usually are for him. So it was very interesting to see that he was struggling, and it wasn't just against Ninja Killa that he was struggling against. So yeah, it was really, really interesting to see that Sonic Fox was having that much issue getting to winners. It looks like people are putting in the time and putting in the work and trying really hard, really early to get good at this game. And you love to see it. You love to see it. It makes me think that this game is going to have a very long life, and that makes me happy. That makes me very happy. Okay. Now, let's let's take a look at, we're going to do these in kind of a strange order. We're going to learn about somebody who calls herself the Queen of Canada. And we are going to learn... Hello, Ghost Dog. Welcome, welcome. So we are going to learn about the Queen of Canada. Self-proclaimed Queen of Canada tried to take over the town of... I didn't hear what it said. But we'll learn about it. We'll put this up to the live scene, and we will, because I don't want to spoil it with the newest video first. So we're gonna start with this first.
You go home, wherever you came from. Get out of here.
This is Ramona Didulo's RV and her...
Ramona Didulo. Yeah, she sounds like someone who lives in an RV.
This is Ramona Didulo's RV and her entourage driving through the streets of Kamsack.
Kamsack? Oh my god, what a horrible name! What a horrible name for a town! I live in Kamsack. Kamsack? No, Kamsack! God damn it!
Clearly not welcome. They told the mayor they were here to, quote, clean up the town.
Oh.
The mayor says she was not impressed.
Clean up the town. Oh, okay. You're gonna clean up the town. Oh, okay.
How does this become your town? I said, well, I'm the mayor of the town and I live here. So that makes it my town. I said, why are you here saying you're going to clean up my town? You didn't approach me, you didn't consult me, and I don't appreciate you being here and claiming to be able to do this.
Anti-extremism agencies say Didulo started as a QAnon conspiracy theorist.
Oh my god. I can't take that seriously. A QAnon conspiracy theorist. Seriously? In Canada? And honestly, does anyone take QAnon people seriously?
But has turned into something else. She claims to hold many titles,
No.
including the Queen of Canada and the National Indigenous Leader.
Wait, how can you be the Queen of Canada and the National Indigenous Leader? Aren't those two things diametrically opposed?
She has amassed a following on social media and travels the country in an RV with devout followers.
Oh,
This criminologist,
okay.
who has studied Didulo extensively, says Didulo issues decrees that include a tone of violence.
Quite regularly, she puts out shoot to kill orders,
Oh.
which are very concerning because oftentimes they're targeting like healthcare professionals or firefighters, people along those lines who...
That's rational. Shoot to kill orders on healthcare professionals and firefighters? Okay. What? Why?
Or, doing good in society, but whom she is deemed to be the enemy.
Kamsack officials say they started interacting with the group yesterday morning. Didulo stayed in the RV while her entourage did the talking.
Oh, of course she did. Of course she did. She made them do her dirty work and she stayed hidden.
Town leaders called a nearby First Nations chief and called a meeting for that afternoon
Huh.
and invited Didulo.
Yeah. Oh, you call yourself the National Indigenous Leader, do you? Well, here. Let me call up this First Nations chief who is over here very close to our town, and we'll have him come talk.
Meanwhile, officials say a couple of hundred townspeople lined the streets, telling them to leave. In the end, we're told Didulo did not attend the meeting. The group had packed up and left the town with an RCMP escort before 4 p.m.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that she did not attend the meeting with the First Nations chief. And that the RCMP escorted her out of town.
RCMP didn't respond to CBC's request for more information, and neither did Didulo. Nicholas Frew, CBC News, Regina.
Okay, so that's the introduction to the Queen of Canada. Canada's true queen is a QAnon influencer, and this is from Alternate Reality. This is a 12-minute video, so that was the 1-minute introduction that you just got. This is a more in-depth look at this crazy person.
13th, 2022, a mob descended on a small police station in Peterborough, Ontario. Their mission?
Holy shit.
Arrest the cops for enforcing COVID policies.
They started in Peterborough?
You have been participating in a crime for almost 2 years.
Things didn't go as planned.
I'm shocked that they weren't able to arrest the police.
It was the latest in a series of provocations by followers of Romana Didulo, a woman who's proclaimed herself Queen of Canada.
I address you today as your Commander-in-Chief and Queen.
Oh my god, she sounds like a... Somebody smack her, please. She needs to have somebody smack her.
She rules over a following that believes in conspiracy theories like QAnon and alien encounters, and one that increasingly looks like a cult.
Looks like? Looks like. I would say is. But, hey, what do I know?
God help us and Godspeed.
God help us and Godspeed. Really? Are you seriously playing on God Save the Queen? God save us and God save the Queen. Wow.
You can usually
She's
find
crazy.
Romana Didulo on tour. Riding the QAnon conspiracy wave, Didulo echoed many of its central claims.
But isn't QAnon pretty much like a laughingstock now? And dead? Hey, cannibalistic wizard. Well, because she said that she's the Queen of Canada and the National Indigenous Leader. So I'm trying to figure out how you can be both. Because I'm pretty sure being the Queen of the colonized Dominion of Canada and the National Indigenous Leader are antithetical terms and positions that you cannot hold at the same time. But that's just me. I could be way off the mark here. QAnon is laughed at so hard they're like the boomers of the internet. It's hilarious.
She said she too was fighting a cabal of evil pedophiles that QAnon adherents believe secretly run the world.
Oh god.
She spread false claims that COVID-19 and vaccine rollouts were a conspiracy to harm and control the populace.
Oh, she was one of those people. Oh, okay. Yeah, alright.
The so-called QAnon Queen of Canada leads a convoy of vehicles in an RV she calls her mobile government.
All I'm picturing right now is, because I've been watching the latest Gordon Ramsay show, which is 24 Hours to Hell and Back, and he drives a fucking mobile kitchen around and saves restaurants, and all I'm picturing is, instead of Gordon Ramsay in an RV, it's this bitch. I'm the Queen of Canada, and in just 24 hours, I'm going to subjugate this town.
With her entourage, Didulo makes stops in parking lots and shopping centers, meeting and greeting her devoted fans as she hugs her way across the country.
Oh, good. Good for you. Hug your way across Canada. Yes. Do it. Yeah.
Some of them have abandoned.
Yeah, you're right, honey. It is like all the bad takes. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks the Earth only spins at 1,000 miles an hour. Really? That's crazy. And I think you're right. Actually, no. I think the Earth actually spins something like 1,500 kilometers, but it's still like not 1,500 miles.
to tend to Romana's needs and spread her message.
Oh, yes, tend to her
Abandoned whole
needs.
lives to tend to Romana's needs and spread her message.
Thank you, Queen Romana. Thank you.
Oh my god, they call her Queen? They call her Queen Romana?
Then, she's a revolutionary leader.
I have removed Justin Trudeau and his corporation government.
I'm gonna play that again.
Thank you.
To them, she's a revolutionary leader.
I have removed Justin Trudeau and his corporation government.
Really? 'Cause, they still seem fairly in charge. She seems fairly... Wow. Woo! You guys actually believe this bitch?
Corporation government.
Oh my god!
But it seems he didn't get the memo.
Over the past 2 years,
What?
And his corporation.
Thank you.
to them, she's a revolutionary leader.
I have removed Justin Trudeau and his corporation government. But it seems he didn't get the memo.
That's because you didn't actually do anything. You're just insane.
Over the past 2 years, Vice News made several attempts to interview Didulo, but all requests were ignored or denied. A lot of her background is still
Because
fuzzy.
it's Vice.
She moved to Canada from the Philippines as a kid, and she's described experiencing homelessness and working a range of low-paying jobs.
Okay, so she's a Philippine immigrant to Canada. Okay.
My first job when I arrived in Canada, when I was very young, was at a restaurant, flipping burgers at McDonald's, mind you. I
Yeah, that's what most young people do in Canada.
never thought that at that time they were serving half-human meat.
What? I'm sorry, what?
At that time, flipping burgers at McDonald's, mind you. I never thought that at that time they were serving half-human meat.
Okay, we all know McDonald's is not serving grade A, like, Angus sirloin to us, okay? But we're not eating people, you fucking... Wow! Wow! You are... Oh, she doesn't believe the earth spins... Oh, Jesus. Seriously?
Cannibal fast food conspiracies aside, she says somewhere along the line, a secret cadre of US military forces and space aliens chose her as Canada's ruler.
Wait, what? A secret cadre of... Run that by me again?
Fast food conspiracies aside, she says somewhere along the line, a secret cadre of US military forces and space aliens chose her as Canada's ruler.
Okay, that's a strange combination of people. US military forces and space aliens. Okay. Did you pick two groups of people out of a hat when you were concocting this story?
She talks to aliens. That's a little weird, but it's the Galactic Force.
In 2021,
The
Didulo
Galactic
began
Force?
delivering online speeches and decrees. And since then, her Telegram channel has amassed tens of thousands of followers.
She has a... Of course she has a Telegram. Of course. Why do all the crazy fuckers have Telegram? Fucking Ralph has a Telegram. This bitch has a Telegram. Why is it always the crazy assholes with skeletons in their closet that have Telegram?
We got the Queen Romana. She's the Commander-in-Chief.
Queen Romana has seized the day, whether you like it or not.
Here's what Corey and Daisy, a Canadian couple who once were among her staunchest supporters, told Vice about what led them to Didulo.
Wait. Once were? I thought Asians were supposed to be smart. Do we count Filipinos? No. I don't. Because they're... Every time I hear the Philippine language spoken, it sounds like Spanish. It's so strange.
Q ended up having a lot of information out there that ended up slowly starting to become reality.
We are searching for truth, right? There's a lot of things happening in Canada that did not make sense. Like, why are we being forced to wear masks, being forced to get vaccinated? We were curious, and that's how it started.
I don't know. Did you read the newspapers? Did you participate in life? Did you understand that there was a virus going around? You dumb fucks. Why are we being told to wear masks and get vaccinated? I have no idea. This is just randomly happening all of a sudden. Jesus Christ almighty.
They liked that Didulo wasn't just pontificating online.
Oh, really? She wasn't? Are you sure?
She and her followers were actually willing to do something about their beliefs.
That's a cease and desist order. We have a new we have a new commander-in-chief. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Wait.
Being forced
about their beliefs.
That's a cease and desist order. We have a new we have a new commander-in-chief.
Who are they serving that
to? Self-explanatory. It's signed by we the people.
When Didulo declared the end of all COVID measures in Canada, followers began serving bogus cease and desist letters to anyone violating their Queen's decree.
Oh my God. As much as a lot of these COVID measures I didn't follow, if anybody, because there were still times, like this morning, right? The mask mandates are back in medical places, right? I had to wear a mask to talk to the psychiatrist, right? Even the secretary was like, I know, it's stupid. Here we are again, right? Yes, did I still do it? Yeah. You know why? Because I want to fucking talk to the psychiatrist. And as annoying as it is not the end of my life. Right? I'm not, just because I'm putting on the mask doesn't mean I'm kowtowing to every government thing. It doesn't mean I believe in fucking Justin Trudeau's government. It just means I want the service that is being offered to me. Right? That's all it is. That's all it is. Why is this so hard?
So, you've been served. You've got 7 days.
Whether they were restaurant employees asking customers to wear masks, healthcare workers delivering shots, or even a Vice News journalist.
The cease and desist letters that were sent to me were a response to my first article about Romana.
Wait, they sent a cease and desist letter to a Vice journalist?
Actually, the first kind of more mainstream article.
That's funny.
In regards to the conspiracy theorists, it was like a deluge of these kind of cease and desists that were all going into my inbox. They typically said, stop doing what you're doing on behalf of Her Royal Majesty, Queen Romana Didulo, yada, yada, yada. It kind of made me realize how active her audience was and how they were willing to kind of fight on behalf of their queen.
The group's willingness to be confrontational was even more ominous in light of Romana's constant threats of violence.
At the firing squad.
Oh!
Military firing squad. You will receive not 1, but 2 bullets on your forehead.
Romana.
Jesus, 2 fucking, why? What the fuck?
Has always kind of portrayed herself as like a strong-armed dictator, one that is very quick to take violent actions. Hence these kind of shoot-to-kill orders.
This is
hence
crazy.
The cease and desist orders From everybody I spoke to that was either on this sort of QAnon convoy across Canada or were aware of what happened, they referred to her as extremely manipulative, somebody that would use threats to control the people around her.
That's not manipulative, that's coercive. Manipulation is subtle, coercion is not. If she was manipulative, she wouldn't need to threaten, right? Do people just not understand words anymore?
To former followers like Corey and Daisy, the threats were part of a larger pattern of tyrannical behavior.
She's, insulting us and threatening to shoot me in the head for stupid things and stupid little things, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that is not manipulation. That is called abuse and coercion. Those are two vastly different things. You can manipulate somebody without abusing them, or you can even manipulate somebody positively, right? Manipulation doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, right? If somebody, to me, manipulation is a little bit stronger than influence, but it's along the same lines, right? And you can influence and manipulate somebody in a positive direction, or you can influence and manipulate somebody in a negative direction. What these people are talking about is neither of those things. This is straight up abuse and threats and coercion and strong arming. This is not manipulation. Why are people using the wrong words? Nobody knows how to English anymore.
The couple helped Romana first set up her touring operation in early 2022.
I ended up becoming her main driver.
Oh, God.
I was the mechanic.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Security.
I become her personal assistant, her cook, pretty much her maid.
Her cook? What, this bitch can't cook for herself? She lives in a fucking trailer and she thinks she deserves a cook? Fuck you. Fuck you.
They claim Romana controlled
Seriously.
every aspect of their lives, down to when they ate or went to the bathroom.
Jesus
The people that were
Christ.
traveling with Romana were treated like shit. She would make them drive really long hours, even though they didn't really need to do anything. They would just kind of drive around in circles at times.
Wow. And if they're in prairie areas or places that's hell. That's boring. And there is a lot of empty driving space in Canada that is just boring as fuck. And it's horrible. Having to drive that much for no reason, and it's painful.
16 hours just for make-work projects. They weren't allowed to speak on their cell phones around her.
Jesus.
Sometimes they were only allowed to eat one meal a day, and that meal would be at the end of these 16-hour days. So she was controlling them emotionally, physically, and financially.
Yeah, that is abuse. That is not manipulation. That is straight up abuse. Financial abuse, emotional abuse, and physical abuse. If she's controlling when they eat, that is absolutely physical abuse.
Running a convoy isn't cheap. There are hotel rooms, gas, food, and a lot of other expenses to account for.
Yeah.
DiGiulio claimed that to take in donations, she needed access to Daisy's bank account, which he used to collect more than $140,000 in a 2-month period.
Oh my God! 140 grand in 2 months?
He used to collect more than $140,000 in a 2-month period. This isn't the only time DiGiulio seemed not to care about her impact on followers' finances.
And could you imagine what the Canada Revenue Agency would say at looking at those bank statements? They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Also, you now owe us taxes on $140,000. Pay up. We don't care if you didn't see a penny of that money. It was in your bank account. Therefore, it was your money. Pay up on those taxes. Holy shitballs. This would be that warped 5G mindset, too. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
At one point, she convinced them not to pay traffic tickets or electric bills, leading to a number of them having their power turned off.
Oh, man.
They create free utilities for all we the people of the Kingdom of Canada.
A lot of these people, they're seniors. They're people that just are on a fixed income and they're having a hard time already. And she's getting them to donate the money to her instead of them paying their bills.
Oh, this is disgusting. She's preying on people's fears. She's preying on people's concerns. You know, all the shit that the Liberal Party is claiming that Poilievre is doing, this bitch is doing.
Eventually, the Julo just abandoned Corey, Daisy, and a group of other convoy members, replacing them with new volunteers.
Of course.
She purposely wanted to just leave us in Newfoundland at -20, you know, with no money, no nothing.
Holy
no
shit.
With this kind of disregard for followers' well-being, combined with all the violent rhetoric, it wasn't exactly surprising when things boiled over last summer.
But get out of our face. Get out of our face.
Protesters showed up Saturday to carry out a, quote, citizen's arrest of local officers, and here's how that unfolded.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. This is the Peterborough thing, I think.
Instead of arresting the cops, the Julo supporters were themselves arrested.
Yeah.
To defend the people. Yes.
Well, they are defending the people from you crazy bitch.
These are people who are genuinely batty, who are genuinely dangerous, and who are going there trying to provoke a physical confrontation.
The Peterborough Police will continue to investigate, identify the people involved in the protest on Saturday, and continue to lay charges, if warranted.
The Peterborough incident showed the real-world implications of her ideas. They don't just live on Telegram. People believe in them, they are acting on them, they are actually changing their lives based on ideas that she believes in.
That's the problem. And when we have somebody in government who is actually calmly trying to get things fixed, and the current government is lumping him in with these fucking crazy people, it's really, really frustrating.
They're probably more a danger to themselves in the sense that they believe in ideas that aren't real, and then they carry them out in their own lives, and it hurts them.
Months before the bungled citizen's arrest, DeJulo's mental health had been called into question.
Canadian QAnon figure based in Victoria says she...
Yeah, you're right. Like, this is why I think I was honestly surprised when my grandpa was going the other direction. Because I was expecting him to turn into this type of person. Because of his conservative, like, because of the way he thinks, right? But he went the other way. and listened to CNN.
She has been arrested by the RCMP and detained under BC's Mental Health Act.
She was released soon after. The Julo seems to put her
Mental Health
supporters
Act,
through a lot. They open up their wallets, suffer death threats, and even get beat up by cops. It's clear what she gets out of the arrangement, worshipful obedience and all her expenses paid. But her followers' continued devotion is a little harder to explain.
That's where the cult shit comes from. That's why people are that's why people are calling her like the cult thing, because she's treating people like shit, but they're still devoted to her.
Appeal, I think, is the fact that she promises people a lot of really great things. So she promises them, you know, not having to pay utility bills, not having to pay taxes, not having to pay mortgage. The idea that all of these debts are wiped out. However, the issue is, and what might be missing, is that they do not ask for evidence.
Maybe their faith comes from the fact that some of them don't just see her as a politician or even a monarch.
Am I? Okay, so that's why you're saying, okay, so you're asking.
You're leaning.
The short and sweet answer is I'm a celestial being.
They see her as
Oh, what the fuck?
Okay, so that's why you're saying, okay, So you're asking. The short and sweet answer is I'm a celestial being.
She's a celestial being. She's a celestial fucking being. Are you serious?
They see her as a spiritual, almost messianic figure, a cosmic leader destined to reshape the world.
The people that are stuck with her right now are definitely being brainwashed. Most of them have already threatened to hang us and shoot us and put us up for treason too.
Many people define a cult as believing something very religious, and they, as a group, don't tend to be religious. However, the group who is living with her, they do seem potentially more cult-like than perhaps some others.
Yeah, especially with this whole celestial beings thing, like, this is bad.
They do wear a particular uniform. They wear white hats, white shirts, white shoes. The color white is very important to them, and it means something specific to them. They do a lot of free labor. Nobody is getting paid, and they're very devoted to her, and as evidenced by the fact that they left their families and have been
Oh, wow. They actually abandoned their own family. Wow.
Very devoted to her. And
That's
as evidenced by the fact that they left
Christ.
their families and have been gone for a long time. That is potentially cult-like behavior.
The Julo continues to make interesting proclamations. She claims she's raised the age of sexual consent to 24. She says she's now the queen of not just Canada, but the whole world.
Oh, of course. Yes, you're queen of the entire world now. Oh, of course you are. Also, who let you out of your institution and stopped giving you Haldol? Who did that? Because they should be shot.
Oh yeah, and she declared World War III.
Go home and prepare yourselves and your families.
But if Dijulo's so-called war keeps escalating, more people are going to get hurt.
You've got to be a psychopath, otherwise it won't work.
Which could be bad news for not just her followers, but for everyone in the Kingdom of Canada.
See, this is the problem, right? Because we have people like this crazy person, and then we have the current Liberal government lumping Pierre Poilievre in with these crazy people. So here's a short. It's called The Queen of Canada, the Entire World. I had to. So, that is... I think that's it. Is that it? Is this it? Yeah, okay. Richmond RCMP called out for road safety video. Oh, yes. So
this road safety video.
Pinkalo told me about this. He described it to me. It's a woman crossing the... I think it's a woman crossing the crosswalk. She puts in her ear pods and is like looking at her phone, and then there's a car coming and he's like looking at his phone, and then it's like road safety is a two-way street, something like that. It does sound like Heaven's Gate level shit, except a lot more dangerous. When's the next comet gonna fly by? I don't know. She's a fucking alien. Yup, she's a fucking alien. Okay, so, where are we here? So, let's take a look at this video.
This road safety video posted by Richmond RCMP on X has gone viral, but not for the reasons police might have hoped. The video shows a young girl going for a walk dressed in a dark hoodie with her AirPods in. When she crosses the street at a marked crosswalk, she almost gets hit by a distracted driver holding a cell phone. The video now has over 6 million views and more than 2,500 comments, many of those negative, accusing the RCMP of putting the pedestrian and driver equally at fault.
But they would be, because if you're not listening, you don't hear the car coming. Like, this is why I don't wear my earpieces when I'm walking, or if I do, I only have one, and it's the one that's not close to the road, so that I can hear properly. Because, like, or I'll put them in transparency mode, so I can still hear. Because it is it is your job as a pedestrian to be safe. You can't just wander through the world and hope that people will not hit you. Just like if you're walking late at night, it's stupid to wear dark clothes and not pay attention to what's around you, because that's how you get hurt. That's how you get beaten up and mugged and stabbed. Like, it's not necessarily saying that it's entirely your fault for getting beaten up and mugged and stabbed, but if you're not paying attention because you have music in, then you can't predict it, you can't hear it coming, you can't do something to prevent it. That's what the RCMP is trying to say with this video. If you've got your ears blocked as a pedestrian and you're not paying attention to the cars around you, you can't hear them coming.
It's not laying blame on one party or the other, it's just showing a situation that can happen.
But there's been mixed reaction to the video offline.
There was enough guilt on both of their faces to just tell people to just pay attention to what they're both doing.
I know it was very, very good for pedestrians and drivers, because I've noticed myself that a lot of people just cross the street without looking both ways.
Evan Dunphy, an Olympic race walker from Richmond, says he's hyper-vigilant when walking around the community, but was not impressed with the video. He took to X saying, as a professional pedestrian in Richmond, it's fun to know that if I'm murdered by a distracted driver while in a crosswalk, that the Richmond RCMP will blame me.
No, that's not what they said at all. They said if you're not paying attention, it would be partially your fault. They didn't say it would be all your fault and they're just gonna leave your mangled body in the street, you hyperbolic freak.
Even if we're in
Come
the
on.
race, we're not gonna win that fight with the car. But I didn't feel like...
No, you're not gonna win the fight with the car. That's why you pay attention.
The right, we're not going to win that fight with the car, but I didn't feel like the video portrayed that at all, and tried to equate a driver who was doing very illegal things with a pedestrian who was not really doing anything wrong.
The video gained so much traction, even BC's premier was asked about it on Tuesday.
I understand the intent of the video is to communicate to pedestrians to stay alert at this time of year. But I do think that the video probably missed the mark.
The RCMP says the idea behind the video was to show that even a small lapse in paying attention from both sides can lead to a serious injury or even death.
Because it can.
When I asked Corporal Huang if the RCMP considered taking down the video, he said no.
No.
That they would if they thought the video was offensive. He says the messages being portrayed online from critics are not even close to what the RCMP intended.
No, they're not. They're not. How are you supposed to come, there's no really visual representation on how to portray that other than what they did. If you're a pedestrian, you have to listen and look. And if you're a driver, you have to look. And this is why you can't wear giant ass fucking headphones while you're driving. You know, those big ass studio things. This is why you can't do it, because you still have to listen to your car and shit around you. What if you're driving and you've got those giant things on, you don't hear an ambulance coming? And you get fucking T-boned by the ambulance.
We understand that people might have a different interpretation, but what we've seen is absolutely beyond comprehension.
While
Right?
some online feel the Mounties are victim blaming and others say it's the worst road safety ad they've ever seen, the RCMP says they hope all this attention will at least spark more conversations around road safety.
See, this is the problem with everybody being a fucking victim right now. It's like, you're victim blaming. No. No. They're just pointing out what can happen if people aren't paying attention. And if people aren't paying attention, they're still gonna get fucking help. Like, the cops are still gonna come to the accident scene. So are the EMS. People are still gonna go to the hospital. And you know, we have this magical thing called provincial health care, so your injuries are still gonna get treated, and you don't have to sue the person that hit you for your medical bills, because we live in Canada. So, like, this, you know what's victim blaming? You know what's victim blaming? When the blind person is accurately crossing the street when it's her turn to cross, and she gets hit by a fucking car that is doing what it's supposed to be doing, sitting at a red light because the person behind them was distracted driving, and then the police chief tries to say that they're not going to charge me with jaywalking because the fucking light was so short that it changed halfway across when I was halfway across the street. That's fucking victim blaming. That they were even considering charging me with jaywalking at that point. That is victim blaming. What the RCMP is doing here is pointing out a fact that pedestrians have their noses buried in their phones and have their earbuds in so loud that, and I know this, so loud, I've heard people's music as they walk by me. The lyrics of their music, and they're wearing earbuds. I'm like, how the fuck are you people still able to hear when you take those things out? Like, holy fuck, people. Stop victim blaming. Start taking some accountability. Hey, select the boy. Yes, cannibalistic wizard. Fucking cyclists. The cyclists that don't follow road safety. Or the adult cyclists that are too chicken shit to bike on the road, yet they bike at road speed on the sidewalk, and then they go ding ding at you with their bell like you should get the fuck out of the way, instead of them getting the fuck on the road and knowing road signals. Fuck, I hate people sometimes. Seriously. Piers Morgan versus Hassan Abi on Palestine-Israel conflict. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is gonna get me angry, isn't it? This is gonna make me angry. I have a feeling that this is gonna make me very angry. So I'm gonna refill my coffee so that I have something to drink while I get angry. So if you need a refill on your coffee, go do it now, and I shall be back in a minute or so. So let me put on the music and mute myself. Okay. Let's go get angry at Hassan and possibly Pierce. I don't know. Let's see.
Well, now the battle of the hearts and minds, traditionally played out through diplomacy and propaganda, is being played out online. My next guest has almost 500 million views for his provocative commentary online, making him hugely influential. Hassan Piker streams live under the name Hassan Adam. His analysis of the Israel-Hamas war has taken a highly critical stance towards Israel and Western media.
That's a very polite way of putting it there, Pierce.
And he's been calling me out for my coverage.
Because he only cares about Israeli citizens. He does not care about Palestinians as human beings. That's why it's apples to oranges. It's like one side is a human, the other side is a barbaric monster child.
No, most of us can separate Hamas from the people living in Gaza. Because, you know, we have brains. Unlike you, Hassan.
I never said that, obviously. He says he'd like nothing more than to come on to Uncensored and call me a baboon in a suit to my face. Well, here I am, a baboon, and he can join me now. I'm joined by Hassan. Hassan, thank you very much indeed for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Piers. It's very early here in Los Angeles, California.
Oh,
but
Muffin!
I'm going to try to do my very best to not do my British accent while I'm...
Oh, thank God. Please, don't. And Pierce, if he does, kick him.
Well, I appreciate that. And listen, I appreciate you coming on. Explain to me why you consider me a stenographer for the Israeli government, given that in the last week, I think more than any other host in the world,
stenographer for the Israeli government. I love that.
Lengthy platforms to pro-Palestinian voices to articulate that side of the argument.
No, I do have to commend you. You certainly have had more pro-Palestinian voices than the rest of the British media.
Than you, Hassan? Than you, perhaps?
Certainly the rest of Western media in general. Now, as far as saying that you're a stenographer, I said that journalists are not supposed to be stenographers, and yet when it comes down to it, in most circumstances, in whatever conflict we may be in, there are stenographers for whichever party is aligning with the American State Department and the interests of the West in general. And Israel happens to be the one in this ongoing conflict.
Do you even understand? You couldn't even understand that Taiwan was its own country. What the fuck are you talking about? You shouldn't even be talking about politics if you can't even understand that Taiwan is its own country and what the fuck was happening in Hong Kong. I remember that discussion.
Because I want to play you. This was your reaction to when the hospital got bombed.
I'm a propagandist.
Well, no.
For the record.
No, I'm not calling
I'm a propagandist.
I'm just saying. I'm going to play you.
I'm saying I am.
Well done, Pierce.
I'm saying I am.
I just want to...
Hassan, shut up and take your medicine.
Okay, I'm going to play the clip. This is your reaction to the bombing of the hospital the other night.
While I was in the process of getting ready for the stream, Israel enacted one of the singular worst strikes they have done thus far, and an Israeli airstrike hit the Al Ahli hospital.
It wasn't Israel.
Where thousands of civilians were seeking medical treatment and shelter from the relentless bombing campaign.
Now, interestingly, when you were saying that, I was coming on air too, and I took a position based probably on 30 years of being a journalist, including running major newspapers, working...
Oh, shit! Okay, this is the one time when a journalist like Piers Morgan can turn to a YouTuber and go, all right, you little shithead. Let me show you how to be a fucking journalist.
Working at CNN and others, of waiting. I'm just saying, I think we should just wait and see what has actually happened here, get clarification, see who's actually to blame before we start passing judgment. You raced in to assume as many people did, by the way, including
Yep.
the New York Times, BBC,
Justin Trudeau,
mainstream media, and of course most of the Arab world then followed.
It literally took until yesterday for Trudeau to admit that fucking Israel didn't bomb that hospital. Yesterday. It happened on Wednesday, for fuck's sakes.
That this was clearly, indisputably, an Israeli airstrike on this hospital. And yet all the evidence now...
He was even, like, naming the type of bombs that they were using. As if he had any idea at all about what type of munitions were being fired.
Suggests very strongly that it wasn't. That in fact this was a rocket that misfired coming from a terrorist group inside Gaza. So
you wouldn't. You wouldn't, huh?
I wouldn't go that far.
Why would you be so certain in what you said before you knew?
Okay, so first and foremost, before we get started on this conversation, let's understand something very important here.
Okay, first and foremost, before we get started on this conversation, let me lay the foundations of a lie. There, I fixed it for you.
No electricity in Gaza. Internet is patchy in Gaza. There's no food in Gaza. There's no water in Gaza. This is all by design. This is because Gaza is under a brutal blockade, a brutal occupation by the Israeli government.
Hassan, you idiot. Do you think that the video was, oh my god, you're blaming patchy internet? Fucking Hamas has been uploading videos every day. What the fuck are you talking about? If there's a video out there that is out there, it's out there for a reason. It's the patchy internet? What the
So that plays a role in the fog of war and
it doesn't pay. What? The patchy internet changed the contents of the video? The patchy internet made you think the missiles were Israeli and not fucking from Hamas? Really? The patchy internet? The patchy internet made you think differently. Oh, okay.
Spread. Having said that, however, you made it seem as though there is a certainty that this was 100% not an Israeli airstrike.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. You did.
You just said it's not a certainty.
Okay, sorry.
I said the
misunderstood
evidence is
Then I
increasingly pointing to this not being an Israeli airstrike.
Right?
That is expert evidence from people who have no skin in the game.
And that evidence came out like the next day.
Yes. Well, I don't know which expert you're
literally the next
because I think
day.
Channel 4 did a pretty good job. As a matter of fact, I would say Channel 4 did probably the best job so
Hey,
far in
Britzillington.
analyzing everything that the IDF has said. But the reason
Good morning, Britzillington.
I believed, and I still do believe, that the likelihood is that this was an Israeli bombing campaign wasn't only because of the singular verifiable video, the phone video from the balcony that had all of the markings of an airstrike, the fact that the Israeli Air Force was enacting a bombing campaign in the region at the time, according to the Al Jazeera live streaming footage that everyone is using but doesn't understand.
Al Jazeera! You're gonna take yeah, that's not a biased source at all. Al-Jazeera. They're not gonna say Israel's doing shit. No. Even when Israel's not doing shit, they won't say that they're doing shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, that is the same Hassan. He is. In fact, I think his uncle might actually be a little bit smarter, and I can't believe I just said that, because I fucking hate Cenk what's-his-face.
The fact
or as
that
voiceover says, Cenk Uyghur. That's how voiceover pronounces Cenk Uyghur. It says Cenk Uyghur. Which I enjoy immensely.
immediately came out and said that this was actually an airstrike that hit a Hamas target, and that he was sad that there were, casualties at the end of the day, but this was a Hamas target and celebrated it. And more importantly, I guess, the fact that this hospital had been bombed by Israel. This hospital had been bombed by Israel on Saturday. 22 hospitals have, as a matter of fact, been bombed by Israel since this last saga in the occupation. And this hospital had been bombed directly by Israel, where the cancer ward was destroyed. Israel has been bombing all of these hospitals. Israel has been calling all of these hospitals to evacuate over and over and over again. The medical professionals at the hospital had been called by the Israeli government the day prior, and everyone on the ground assumes that this is an Israeli airstrike. They are the ones who experienced
But
Hassan. First, before Pierce says what he's going to say, I'm going to say this. If Israel didn't care about the citizens in the hospital, which, by the way, Hamas puts their munitions depots in on purpose, you idiot, so that when Israel has to take out the munitions depot, they have to bomb the hospitals, you numpty. But if Israel didn't care about the civilians in the hospitals, do you think that they would call and say, hey, get everybody out? I don't think so. Do you see Hamas calling Israel going, hey, we're about to strike you. You should move your people. No, I don't either. So Hassan, what nonsense was that you just spewed out? Now, Pierce, what are you going to say?
Everyone on the ground assumes that this is an Israeli airstrike. They are the ones who experienced the situation.
Hassan,
so when you have
but the
every
truth
single,
is,
can I just finish this?
if you watch the BBC account of all this,
no, you can't.
By their Verify unit, which was specifically set up by the BBC to be completely dispassionate in these investigations, and they reached a pretty clear conclusion based on circumstantial evidence. I'll make that clear, that this would not have been an Israeli airstrike, including, for example, the size of the crater, which bears no relation to the size of craters normally left by Israeli. So, look, my point is, neither of us know for sure. But you took to your airwaves immediately because actually your, I wouldn't even say unconscious bias, your admitted propagandist bias on your part was that you wanted that to be an Israeli airstrike. It suited your narrative.
Yeah.
And I would say that in itself, in its
I
way,
wanted it to be
is
an
being a
Israeli airstrike.
stenographer. Well, you accuse me of being a stenographer. I try and be fair and...
Oh, no. You clearly wanted it to be an Israeli airstrike. Because when people in your chat started saying, dude, you don't know yet. You can't make that determination. You started calling them genocidal pieces of garbage. You lost your shit on your own viewers because they were telling you not to be so biased and not to jump to conclusions. And you were calling them heinous shit, dude. Absolutely heinous shit. Even for you, I was just like, holy shit, dude. Like, you called this one guy 3 different times a genocidal piece of shit. And you told him that he wanted Palestinians to be dead. And that he was an Israel cocksucker. Those were the words I remember. I was watching Destiny react to it, and you told him, you called him an Israel cocksucker, an Israel dick rider, and a genocidal piece of shit, like 3 different times, because all this viewer was saying to Hassan was, you don't know that yet. You don't know that it's Israel yet. You don't know that it's not Israel. You don't know who it is. And that was Hassan's response to a viewer, a chatter. Like, but now he's like outraged that Pierce is like, you wanted it to be an Israeli airstrike. I did? Oh, how dare you? No, dude. You really did.
And get to the truth. In your case,
you
I don't think
absolutely
you tried to do
did.
that. I think you appeal to your audience, appeal to your base.
Yeah.
You don't really care whether the facts
This
are
is
there or not.
unfair. Yeah, you know what, dude? Sometimes truth is unfair. Sometimes truth is a really, really nasty cunt of a bitch. Okay? Sometimes you want to take truth and make truth into an actual human so you can kill truth. But you know what? You can't. Okay? Truth right now is that your reaction and your stream to that hospital bombing is really bad. It's really bad.
This is entirely unfair because you just said circumstantial evidence favors that this was not an Israeli airstrike.
Yeah.
I gave you all of the circumstantial evidence that it does favor that this is an Israeli airstrike. The reason why, however, circumstantial evidence is not enough. And the one thing that I will concede to, because when more information did come out, and no, I do not mean when Israel said that they did not bomb this hospital and it was actually Hamas, and then they turned around and went, never mind, it's not Hamas, it's actually Islamic Jihad. And then they said, we have more evidence coming out in a couple hours. And then the evidence came out, and it turns out it sounded like the phone conversations that they were able to intercept, supposedly, sounded like, by experts at the very least, to be completely false and completely made up.
Yeah, but Hassan, I don't think. Listen, in all honesty, I don't think even as you're saying all this.
No, he sounds like all these words he's using. He's like supposedly, maybe, possibly. Like he doesn't believe anything that's coming out of Israel.
I think you're a smart guy,
and he believes everything that's coming out of Palestine.
I think you've looked at all of this, and I think in your heart you know this was probably not an Israeli airstrike. And I'm just curious why you would, instead of admitting that as facts change,
that is
your
not
opinion
what I'm
changed.
saying. That is not what I'm saying at all.
I don't understand why you double and treble down
You're
when the
asking me to be
evidence
on your
is
show.
pointing the other
You're
way.
asking me to be on your show. Do you want to talk?
Yes.
If you're asking me to be on your show, and I want to be on the show, thank you so much for having me on your show. Let me explain exactly what I said, and let me explain to you why I think still, to this very moment, until there is a third-party investigation that is concluded by the UN, the International Criminal Court, or specifically a forensic analyst that looks at the situation is allowed to be on
fucking ICJ and the UN are jokes. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? The ICJ is a fucking joke. Until you're allowed to actually hang a fucking war criminal again, there is nothing the ICJ can do. So, fuck the ICJ, and also fuck the UN, because also there's nothing the UN can do. What's the UN gonna do? Bad! Bad! Don't do it again, or we'll sanction you. Like, fuck, man. Half the shit that gets decided at the UN, you have to go home and vote on anyway, and it never gets passed. So what the oh my
on the
god.
ground. This is not
what
just
a
my
useless
perspective. This is
piece
B'Tselem
of
as well, which is an Israeli
international
organization
crap
that has also
that is.
demanded a third-party investigation occur. I am not going to conclusively say.
And the UN already came out and said it wasn't Israel.
Was not.
That too.
I don't expect you to. Fault.
I
Why?
don't expect you to.
Because I just gave you. And not because I'm a propagandist. As far as me being a propagandist.
But you are,
everyone is
though.
a propagandist. I'm just honest about it. You're a propagandist. We have our
I'm
biases.
curious who you think I'm a propagandist
honest
for.
about my biases.
Who do you think I'm a propagandist for?
Who do I think you're a propagandist for? Whichever every media person is.
Oh my god, just answer the question.
You think it's a bad word, I don't. That's just the difference. This is a semantics
I do. I think it's actually quite a
that is
serious charge.
uninteresting.
Hassan, I think it's a serious charge to level, not as a podcaster, but as a journalist who's broadcasting around the world.
Yeah. Like, Piers Morgan isn't just some fucking, like, me, okay? Like, if you called me a propagandist, I would laugh at you because I have, 1,100 subscribers. Ha, who the fuck? First of all, who would I be a propagandist for? Second of all, who the hell is receiving my propaganda, right? But if you're gonna call somebody like Piers Morgan, who not only has this YouTube channel, but has this YouTube channel because he owned and ran several successful newspapers and sold them, had his own BBC talk show, broadcasted as an anchor on BBC News. Like, he's actually a journalist, right? Went to school for it, right? You know, did the actual work, you know, did the whole thing, right? So to call him a propagandist, that is a different than calling some random basement person who does a podcast a propagandist.
Who has a reputation, I believe, for being fair and impartial, actually, on these issues. It's quite a charge to just say, I'm a stenographer for the Israeli government, or I'm a propagandist. I don't think there's any evidence that I'm either of those things. I'm curious who you think I'm doing
While
the
we're
propaganda
having this
for.
conversation, 3,000, Piers, while we're having this back and forth, 3,840 Palestinians have been ruthlessly slaughtered in the last incursion into Gaza. I feel like this is an incredibly selfish, self-centered conversation to have. You asked me to be on here. You wanted to hear my perspective. I'm willing to give it to you. I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about Noam Chomsky style manufacturing consent conversations about how the media is operating in the behest of capital.
You were the guy. Listen, you were the guy that called me.
There are dead people.
Listen, Hassan, I only asked you because you're the guy that called me a propagandist and called me a baboon in a suit. I was curious as to why. You don't want to say who I'm doing the propaganda for. We'll move on. I agree with you. There's a bigger picture here. Let's move on. Let's take a short break. Hassan, let's take a short break. I want to come back. I want to talk to you about what happened on October the 7th. Get your reaction to that.
This is interesting because Hassan likes to bully his even when his audience tries to say something in detraction to stuff on his show, he just bullies them, right? He yells at them, and there's nobody there to tell him to stop. Well, Piers is not letting it happen, and he's getting pissed.
Hassan Piker is still with me. Hassan, I want to just play you a clip of something that you said about the October 7th terror attacks, and in particular, the attack at the music festival, which killed 260 people.
Look at this guy. You know what shouldn't happen? Killing 260 people at a music festival. No, you're right, man. That just happened on its own because, bad guys wanted to do bad things. You're right. Dude, if they subjugated you to a open-air prison your whole life, you're going to break out eventually when you realize that there's no other way to get out of it.
I mean, it sounds to me there, Hassan, that you are in some way saying they had it coming.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. Also, Israel has offered Palestine tons and tons of shit before. So, yeah, I don't subscribe to this open air prison thing.
Wait.
No, I wouldn't say that they had it coming. I think that Michael Brooks used to say, analysis is not justification. And while obviously civilian casualties and horrific barbaric acts that were committed on October 7 are completely unacceptable, the important thing to
way
make
to
sure
gloss
that it never
over
happens
that
again is to analyze what are the conditions as to how it happened to begin with.
I love how he's just glossing over. Oh yeah, those were some really horrific and barbaric acts. Yep. But meanwhile, he's got to go into huge detail and about the things that happened to the Palestinians. Like what the fuck, dude?
And I
why
think,
is this?
Ehud Barak
Why
is
are
gonna
we
be
picking
on,
these
in a
sides?
little bit as well, or maybe he's on before me. And I'm almost certain that while he has held the keys to the conversation and held the levers of the power in this conversation in many key and critical points, I would go so far as to say that he is among many others who also recognize that the Bibi Netanyahu administration is responsible. This is not just my assessment. This is 85% of the Israeli population's assessment at the time. This is years and years and years of refusing to negotiate with the Palestinian Authority, don't take my word for it. Take
No,
Bibi
listen,
Netanyahu's
I would agree.
personal
Listen,
word for it.
I
In
would agree
2019, in a
again.
closed-door conversation with Likud members, he
Yeah,
said
listen.
that if you want to thwart any kind of Palestinian nation state, you must do everything you can to only negotiate with Hamas. We control how high the fire goes. He has given cash to Hamas by way of Qatar. There is no bigger fan of Hamas than Bibi Netanyahu, which I hope one day you can maybe interview, and then you'll ask him to.
No, I actually did interview him a few
condemn
months
the
ago,
violence of
and
the
I
Israeli
did
government.
actually spell out to him that there have been a lot more Palestinian deaths this year so far, up to the point of the interview, than Israelis, and what he intended to do about it. He said then he didn't believe in collective responsibility, which is now this hot phrase in this whole crisis about whether you would hold all people in Gaza responsible for Hamas. Interesting to see if when they.
Can I ask you a
well, let me
question?
just
Do
finish
you-
my point.
do you-
If
do you-
they-
This is interesting because the fact that the fact that this is even happening in again, like, and we have this polarization in countries that we know, like, none of these people that are arguing, right, and getting so angry, and also none of the people that are doing these pro-Palestine marches, that, by the way, all sound quite fit and of fighting age. Yeah, I don't see any of them going over and actually fighting. They're just, being disruptive over here and doing absolutely nothing. But it's and all these people that are talking and marching, none of them are going to do anything.
If they do, then launch a ground invasion. It'd be interesting to see if they keep to that word. I'm not a defender of what Bibi Netanyahu has been doing in Israel. In the last year, his attack on the credibility and integrity of the Supreme Court, I think, has been a disgrace, and I think it has fractured society in Israel. I also think that it's caused so much social unrest and had such big protests that you could argue it's taken the eye off the ball of the people who should have been defending the border.
Oh, look, Hassan. Pierce actually knows more about what's going on in Israel than you do. It's almost like he knows what the fuck he's doing.
Because they've been trying to sort out what's been going on domestically, internally inside Israel. So I think it's a
Isn't that
catastrophic state of
amazing?
intelligence, of security, of defense, all of those things. I'll be amazed, frankly, if Netanyahu survives this.
Yep.
So I'm certainly not here to defend him, even if you do view me as a stenographer for his government. My question for you, I think, is this. Is that I've had a lot of problems trying to get people on the pro-Palestinian side to separate two things. That you can say, as I believe and you believe, that the Palestinians have been maltreated for decades. That the situation where they are effectively, I don't even call it an occupation because Israelis aren't in Gaza. They pulled out in 2005, but they still control the ability of Gazans.
That is, this is why I call you a propagandist.
I'm just saying the phraseology is confusing to me because the reality is Israel exercises control over people in Gaza. It allows them in and out. It allows them to turn on the tap of water and so on and so on. I get all that. They don't actually live there because they can't live side by side with each other.
That's why it's called an open-air prison.
Right, I don't disagree with...
That's why they call it the world's largest open-air prison.
Yeah, but Hassan, I don't disagree with you. And
This is the thing. I don't understand, like, this is... The pro-Palestinians think that people who are saying, like, that are talking about Israel, they think that people are like, no, fuck all Palestinians. No! Just fuck Hamas.
I've pointed this out for a long time as a journalist. So we don't disagree about the appalling plight of Palestinian people. But the issue comes that if you can't separate that ongoing dispute between Israel and Palestine from the absolutely appalling barbarism of October the 7th, which was on a whole different scale to anything we've seen, where 1,400 people, Holocaust survivors, babies in their cribs, young women taken, tortured, abused, shot, beheaded, it was reported, and so on. If we can't look at that collectively, with a general humanity and agreement that is an absolute atrocity, then there's something wrong with this. And I find
Yes.
that the tribalism on both sides is now so toxic and
Thank
so
you.
frenzied that you get people who literally can't. We've had a bunch of actors, right, signing this statement saying they want a ceasefire in Gaza and calling Israel war criminals and so on. But they don't say a word about the Hamas attacks that precipitated this.
No.
And I find that
But you
really
agree with
hard,
them, right?
really hard to accept.
But do you agree with them? If they had said, for example, that October 7 attacks were brutal and massacres occurred, and then they said everything else, that Israel is committing war crimes, would you agree with them?
Okay,
Yeah.
here's what I would honestly say about that. Is Israel not allowed to defend itself from the worst terror attack we've seen since 9/11? Is
Yes,
it not
they are.
allowed to defend itself
just odd.
after
You said-
14
Yes, they are. They are allowed, and they should be allowed. And I don't understand why it's not.
Are butchered in that way. And the question then, if you assume that they are able to defend themselves, as any
Pierce,
free
that is
democratic country,
that is the
then the
Israeli
question
State
becomes,
Department line.
Hassan,
That
let
is
me-
the IDF's line. That is
Hassan,
the line that everyone
Hassan,
has
let me ask
channeled.
you this. It then becomes a question of how can they defend themselves?
Right.
If their mission now is to get rid of Hamas, a terror organization that's committed one of the worst acts of terror ever seen, if that is their stated aim, then what they are doing is consistent with that, isn't it?
Yes. And what they're doing is not war crimes because they're not, like, on purpose bombing civilians in hospitals. They're actively trying to evacuate the places that they're trying to bomb. Right? So it is not anywhere in the vicinity of what Hamas was doing because Hamas wasn't nice enough to ask people to evacuate first.
Isn't it?
There's a big fucking
No.
difference.
Here's why this is actually an abject failure, and this is not just my perspective on the matter. I'm just a, dumb idiot with a Twitch stream who is live reacting to the news and trying to make sense of everything.
Yes, you are
as
a
it's
dumb
ongoing.
idiot.
I
You're
usually
right.
have a policy of not covering breaking news, and sometimes that policy is violated. But ultimately, I am not held up by the same journalistic standards, even though I think I do a much better job than most other news outlets in general.
Oh,
So,
stop
let me just
sucking
say this
your
really
own
quickly.
dick.
You said Israel has a right to defend itself. Absolutely zero people think that this is a ridiculous statement. However, how Israel is defending itself is collective punishment. Now, collective punishment in the form of depriving 2.2 million people of electricity, collective punishment in the form of depriving them of water, of food, collective punishment of in the form of 51 people dying in the West Bank, where, there is no Hamas in the West Bank, and yet 51 people have died because in the West Bank, settlers that are occupying Palestinian territory in violation of the international law, settlers who are doing an act of colonial terrorism, and this is not my statement on it, this is international law, that are doing horrifying things by simply just existing there and maintaining the presence with an occupying force in the form of IDF, who is ritualistically humiliating Palestinians in a structure that B'Tselem, an Israeli organization, calls the permit regime.
You know what's interesting? The more he talks about this, the more his accent comes back. He sounds almost white when he's not upset. But the more he talks about this, the more he talks about Palestine and all this, he starts to have an accent.
Where every waking moment of
very interesting.
Palestinians' lives in the West Bank are absolute hell, where they have no legal recourse. 51 Palestinians have died, and that was before the Ramallah, the Ramallah protest that happened last night, and the Israeli forces were opening up with live fire on protesters last night. So who knows what that death toll has become? This is all a product of Israel being an apartheid state. This is a violent apartheid state. There is no way to be a peaceful
Hassan,
apartheid
let me ask you
state.
this.
How the fuck are they an apartheid state?
It is a violence.
Let
It
me
is a
ask you
violence
this then.
required for its maintenance.
Okay, listen.
And that violence
Because Pierce was around for the apartheid in South Africa,
is
so
frustrating people.
I hear
that
you.
violence
I
is
hear you.
radicalizing people.
But here's
Hold
my-
on.
I hear
As
you.
far as Israel, as far as what Benjamin Netanyahu has done, as far as the war government, what they have done, Pierce, going into Gaza and bombing Gaza and killing 3,480 Palestinians so far in Gaza, 1,000 plus children Out of
Do
all
you
of-
think? Okay, but Hassan, they didn't just fucking do it first.
those
That's the
casualties,
thing.
22 hospitals being bombed, a bakery, the only remaining intact bakery being bombed yesterday. These are horrifying crimes that you would openly say are horrifying and unjustifiable when Russia does it, but when Israel does it, Israel has a right to defend itself. This is identical.
Because Israel didn't start the war. Russia started the war. What the fuck are you talking about? Dumbass! Russia started the war with Ukraine. Therefore, Russia doesn't have the right to defend itself because it started shit. Israel didn't start shit. Therefore, it has the right to finish it. Do you see how that works? That's like you that is like you being the friend of the bully at school. And the bully at school got in shit cause it broke a kid's nose for no reason. Yet another kid, another day, as the bully is going to break his nose, stops him and breaks his hand. And then that kid doesn't get in trouble, but the bully gets suspended. And you're like, whoa, the bully has a broken hand though. Why does this kid not get suspended? Because my friend has a broken hand and, well, you got mad at him for breaking the other kid's nose. Well, how come you're not mad at that kid for breaking his hand? That's how stupid you sound right now, Hassan. Russia broke the Ukraine's nose. Israel is breaking Hamas's hand. Get it now?
So the same talking points that I've heard from every Israeli administration official, it's the same talking points that I've heard from American politicians championing the exact same talking points. It's the same thing that I've heard from everyone else in the media. You might have been against the Iraq war and you use that, but you're using that for evil, in my opinion, at this point. If you are not...
Calling it an open-air prison is stupid. In prison, there are guards that tell you when it's lights out time, they tell you when it's time for meals, and so on. Yeah. Right? Well, Hamas shouldn't store their stuff in civilian areas. And they do it on purpose. They do it on purpose so that Israel has to hit civilian areas, so that Hamas goes, there, see? Look, Israel hates you. Israel wants you dead. You should fight Israel. Meanwhile, it's Hamas that's using their own people as fucking cannon fodder and human shields because they don't give a fuck about their people.
Sitting here and condemning those acts of war crimes, those acts of violence, those acts of collective punishment.
Well, I would say to that I think the death of any child in this conflict is horrific.
Yep.
Absolutely horrific. But the question comes down to me that after an act of terror, as we saw on October the 7th, Israel should be able to defend itself and should be able to go after the people that perpetrated that.
And they
who
are.
live amongst civilians in Gaza deliberately.
Yep.
And the question for me becomes down to what is proportionate. I don't know the answer, Zen. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what that answer is.
I do know the answer to that. I do know
Oh, you do. You, Hassan, a fucking Twitch streamer in America, knows what the proportional response to that is, do you?
The answer to that. Last night I had Dr. Ofer Kassif, an Israeli Knesset member who was expelled, suspended for 45 days for saying what I believe is the truth. Championing the exact same position of the Haaretz's editorial board. There are a lot of thoughtful people, a lot of formative Holocaust scholars, a lot of historians that all agree on the same point. The reason why violence that even penetrates through the Israeli security blanket that people thought existed, that penetrated through that Iron Dome, the Iron Wall, if you want to call it that, is because of years and years of oppression and years of violence, which is a necessity to maintain an apartheid state. And this has to stop. There's only two ways out of this. Either you engage in full-blown ethnic cleansing, and if you listen to the likes of Smotrich, or if you listen to the likes of Itamar Ben-Gvir, and these very unfavorable, unpopular, far-right figures, if you listen to Netanyahu and his Likud government, they say that they are interested in going in that direction, the ethnic cleansing direction, the ethnic displacement direction, or the only way out of this for a real solution is to move towards peace, to genuinely to genuinely end the blockade, to end the apartheid, to end the occupation.
Okay. Do you not understand how many times Israel has tried to say, hey, we'll give you this land, we'll give you this, we'll give you this, we'll pull out of Gaza, we'll do this. And you know what they say? No, we want it all. We want it all or nothing. And Israel's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So here's your thing. You can have this, and this. No, we want it all or nothing. Okay, well, then fuck you. Like, what else is Israel supposed to do? Nobody wants fucking ethnic cleansing, but what are you, like...
And create a
if the person that you're working with isn't going to work with you, and then they're going to attack you, you don't have a choice but to remove the terrorists.
All 14 million Palestinians, 5 million of which live under Israeli occupation. It's brutal. And then the rest living in diaspora. These are not unreasonable requests. These are requests that understand the dignity and the humanity of one side, and does not simply treat them as their colonial subjects.
Hassan,
and it's the only way to create permanent security and prosperity in the region.
If it was as simple as that, I'm sure that would have happened already. I would
say
this. I agree with a lot of what you've just said. Not all of it, a lot of it. I don't think you can ever achieve peace now with Hamas controlling Gaza. I don't think you can achieve peace with Netanyahu in charge of Israel, actually, after this. I don't think his own people will want him to be in charge of Israel down the line when they examine exactly how this happened. But we will see. But Hassan, I've got to leave it there. Look, it's good to talk to you. You know, you're an important, influential voice to a lot of people. And I think we have a lot of common ground, and there are some things that we disagree about. But I suspect it's not as much as you think. You know, I do think that the core problem here has got to get resolved in a way that's been completely ignored for decades. And until it gets resolved, until the plight of the Palestinian people is resolved, until all these young people in Palestine feel there's some sense of hope and they can get out of what effectively is, as you say, a prison camp, then nothing is going to change. I don't think it justifies in any... Let me just say, I've got to finish it, but I don't think it justifies in any way what happened on October the 7th. But I do agree with you that until that core problem gets resolved, there will never be peace.
Fuck, man. Why did... Like, Hassan just makes me so angry. I really don't like Hassan. Hassan just drives me crazy. Right so...
now, Sniper Wolf...
Sniper Wolf has gotten way worse. And, Charlie's gonna tell us about it. So, let's take a listen here. Charlie's gonna tell us about this.
Right now, Sniper Wolf is a lot like the aliens on the Buzz Lightyear ride at Disney World. Just getting blasted. Every single corner of the internet is coming together to talk about the Sniper Wolf situation and the doxing against a fellow YouTuber, Jax Films.
And there was no reason for it. And for YouTube to say that both sides bullshit when Jax Films, all Jax Films did was normal commentary shit, and then Sniper Wolf fucking doxed him. It's like, really? Both sides are in the wrong?
From the surface to the shadowy underbelly of the internet, everyone is discussing it. YouTubers, Redditors. If Yahoo Answers still existed, there'd be 50 threads about this by now.
Yep.
I mean, it is everywhere. It's remarkable how big it's become. I'll give you the brief nutshell on it in case you don't know what I'm referring to, but I know you do. If you're watching this video right now on the internet, you are at least loosely familiar with who she is and what she just did, because she just broke one of the 10 commandments of being online. She took an internet dispute into the god-forsaken wasteland we call the corporeal dimension.
Real life!
The real world. Wake the fuck up, samurai. Usually internet beef is just served up medium rare online.
Yep.
But she served this beef medium dare you to commit a crime.
Medium dare.
Man, that shit was lame. But kind of like Dr. Seuss rhyming that one, actually. Kind of fire. But what I'm saying is, what started as just Jax Films making fun of Sniper Wolf for her content and pointing out that what she's doing is bad, escalated into her being so upset about it that she found his address, went to his address, posted it on her Instagram. Not the address per se, but just
still
posted his house on her Instagram, bragging about it, saying, you know, it's time we talk it out like adults.
Which is not at all an adult thing to do. You don't go to somebody's house that even in the real world, you don't just show up at somebody's house and be like, hey, we're gonna talk now like adults. Like, that's not how that works.
Which, of course, is the furthest thing from talking it out, unless, of course, you're an unhinged lunatic. This is just senseless yapping to try and justify what she did here. You can't do that. It's borderline criminal. So she posted it, 5 million of her Instagram followers to see, which of course made Jax Films and his wife feel very unsafe in their home. And since then, she hasn't said anything about it. I think it's only a matter of time before she makes an apology video. It's really just an if instead of, nope. The expression is, it's a matter of when instead of if.
Ah, yes, but is she going to do a ukulele song about a toxic gossip train?
I think it's inevitable. The only thing that remains to be seen is where it's going to rank on the YouTuber apology tier list. So that's the only question I have left about that. But this is only the beginning of...
It can't beat toxic gossip train. There's literally no way.
A really bad week for Sniper Wolf. She's having a worse week than King Kong fans right now with the release of the worst fucking game of the year, Rise of Kong. She also had a lot of people digging through her catalog of content, and they found something very not good. Very, weird.
You mean more than the fact that she steals content and can't react to it genuinely at all?
Let's say. I can't show you anything here because I think there is a chance that it's completely against YouTube's terms. It's her encouraging some seemingly underage individuals to do some degenerate acts on video. And the way she encouraged them was almost like a wager you'd see out of a bad Brazzers film.
Oh, God! Oh, God!
She wagered her tits, saying that if these underage-looking individuals did what she asked them to do, she'd show tits.
Oh, God! This is right out of a Brazzers fucking... Oh, my Jesus Christ. This is insane. And she barely even has... as far as I know, she barely even has tits. So that doesn't sound like a very good payoff.
This was a video back in, 2014. They do it, and then one of the kids' moms walks in. It's
shit.
Very fucking odd, awful shit. And this is just another, alarming thing that Sniper Wolf has in the backlog of her lore.
Why is it that women pedophiles don't get in as much trouble as male pedophiles?
As I was rendering this video, people found another seemingly illegal, potentially, piece of content that Sniper Wolf has on her channel. In this video, she's talking to strangers on Omegle, and then she meets this girl who says that she's 16. And then agrees to show each other their boobs. And the 16-year-old flashes the camera, which Sniper Wolf does censor, but that doesn't make it okay.
No.
I'm pretty sure that's still illegal. You can't just have an underage person being sexual on video and then just say, hey, wait a minute, Buster, it's fine because it's censored. It's like, what the fuck? That's
not okay, dude. That's really not okay. That's not how that works, also. Yes, fuck ethnic cleansing.
And the video is still up right now. And in the whole clip, it's not like there was some like, just kidding, not actually 16, actually in my 20s. There was nothing like that. After that happens, Sniper Wolf just said that, she's fake like her or whatever, and then disconnects. So it really seems like she just had a minor flash the camera on a YouTube video. It's
the fuck? What the fuck? Again, why do female pedophiles get away with this shit?
Fucking crazy. Now I'm going to go ahead and mention something I've seen a few comments talking about to explain what actually happened in this clip here. And I don't know if this is like the Sniper Wolf Defense Squadron operating under DEFCON protocol, so they're in full force trying to figure out any way of explaining this really awful shit.
Probably.
But I'm going to go ahead and share this anyway, just to be complete with the subject. There's some people saying that wasn't actually a 16-year-old, it was a bot that was just spamming the chat, and Sniper Wolf was like reacting to it, knowing it was a bot, knowing it wasn't an actual 16-year-old, and that the person, the girl in the video clip, was just a like cam model or something that's supposed to drive people to some kind of cam site.
So is it a bot or is it an actual model? Because there's a difference.
I don't know enough about Omegle to know if that's something that happens, but regardless, this is still an extremely concerning clip. But rest assured, Sniper Wolf fans, there's still one person,
is still sick.
One entity still very much on the side of Sniper Wolf, and that's YouTube. This is the
Yeah, that was the bullshit that YouTube, because they're like, we've temporarily demonetized Sniper Wolf, but the action's on both sides.
They don't want to get today.
Really?
It wasn't so much just going over like where everything's at here. It's YouTube's response to all this, because it is so big, and doxing is, it's borderline criminal, of course. What would YouTube's response be? They have cracked down on that kind of activity very hard in the past. So, obviously, most people were expecting some kind of action to be taken. It's just wondering what. So far, they've only made like vague references to it or vaguely talked around it. There hasn't been any kind of statement from them about what they plan to do about this situation, aside from a couple of tidbits that they've talked about that seem to indicate that they're not going to do anything. But I don't think anything's 100% confirmed as like this is the path they're taking. But they have publicly made this tweet in the midst of all this.
Is this what I was talking about?
Would it be too meta to do a reaction video to a reaction video? Which is such a lame fucking ChatGPT generated tweet. That is like the most how do you do fellow kids shit ever.
Okay, I didn't see that tweet.
And comes at the worst possible time because Sniper Wolf is a reaction to TikTok content and all that. So clearly this is very poorly timed, unless of course this is their way of like trying to show support for Sniper Wolf. Which
also, she's a bad reactor. Her reactions aren't even real. They're like, you can tell she's like she's just making things, either that or she's reading it. Hey, Jordan!
Which it very well could be. They have made a lot of tweets about her, all very positive. In fact, this whole situation between Jax Films and Sniper Wolf really started catching fire when YouTube themselves made a tweet saying, "Where does Sniper Wolf get her ideas?" And then they also made another one talking about how, like, Sniper Wolf is our turbo super creator of the year. Unbelievable.
Wow.
So just like these very, very positive, pumping their fist Sniper Wolf fan tweets. This one, of course, got community noted.
Pathetic.
For additional context, it needs to be known that this tweet was written in the wake of a controversy regarding a reaction YouTuber, Sniper Wolf, who recently leaked the personal information of a fellow creator on the platform, Jax Films, and then it cites one of the many sources.
God, I love community notes sometimes.
I almost can't help but be impressed and appreciate how bold this tweet from YouTube is here, though. To just drop this shit. Would it be too meta to react to a reaction video? Like, they know this is going on. Like, they have loosely acknowledged the situation in a couple of tweets. Like, they know this is happening because everyone on the internet knows that this is happening.
Yeah,
right now.
There's no way they don't know that Sniper Wolf is running around taking pictures of Jax Films' house.
The hottest shit there is. This shit is leaving the toilet bowl steaming. It's so hot.
Yeah.
They can't be oblivious to it. But whatever ghoul is running this account must be really kept isolated in some kind of sensory deprivation tank, cut off from the rest of the world, and forced to just occasionally drop a bad tweet, because there is just some crazy disconnect here.
No social awareness whatsoever, no reading the room.
To think that this tweet
None
was a
of
good
that.
idea. Because I really don't believe that what they're trying to do with this is, slyly, hey, Sniper Wolf's pretty fucking awesome, right? Like in the middle of this. I don't think they'd be that dumb. I don't think they'd be that stupid.
I don't
really
know.
think this is just like a...
They're pretty stupid lately. I don't know. I really don't know. They make some dumb choices.
Poorly timed, bad tweet from them. Of course, I have no evidence to corroborate that theory. It's just me here thumbing my ass, just speculating. It's at the end of the day, it's just a game theory. I just really don't believe that they would be so bold to just, in the middle of this, give like a big nod to Sniper Wolf. The entire internet is waiting on bated breath to see what they're going to do. Jax Films is calling for like demonetization or like even deplatforming because of the severity of the rule breaking. A lot of other people are rallying behind those things as well. The bare minimum people are looking to see is some kind of punishment issued to Sniper Wolf here.
And as far as I know, I saw a tweet saying that YouTube is temporarily demonetizing her.
In order to, prove to the community that YouTube isn't playing favorites when it comes to their most extreme rules. And I don't think that's an unreasonable request to just want to know, what are you going to do about it, YouTube? Because this is a big deal, and this is something that other creators in the past have gotten in big trouble for.
Yep.
So why would Sniper Wolf get a pass on that? And if she does, can you explain why? Right? Like, there'd have to be a reason for it. I think the obvious reason would be she brings in so much money to the platform, and YouTube loves her so much that they wouldn't ever take action against her.
They don't love her, they love the money she brings in.
Or even if she went on camera and slit the throat of 5 puppies. But just communicate what you're going to do here. Yeah. Like, I don't think this is a situation that would take a super long time for them to decide what they're going to do. So I'm kind of under the assumption that they're not going to do anything about it.
Which is very, very that bugs me. Because, as Charlie said, they have dropped the hammer on people before for doing shit like this. And it really does set a gross precedent if they let her get away with this.
They might make another more direct acknowledgement of it, but they'll probably just be a more slap on the wrist. But again, I'm just spitballing here based on YouTube's past, because
as I said, this video was put out before the tweet where they were like, we're temporarily suspending her monetization, blah blah blah, the both sides tweet.
There is favoritism on the platform, as there is on every other platform. YouTube's no exception there, and I think it's pretty clear that she's going to get some kind of special treatment when it comes to this rule breaking, which really sucks. And like, the damage is very much done to Jax Films and his wife.
Yes.
As he mentioned, they don't really feel safe in their home anymore, which is totally understandable. She dumped a picture of their house for all of her 5 million followers to see. And on Instagram, I think the followers there are going to be a degree higher in terms of their support of Sniper Wolf than like her YouTube audience. Like, I think those are going to be where the super fans are.
Yes.
And they probably fucking hate Jax Films, and now they have this. It makes sense why he'd feel unsafe.
It does. Because of the beef that they've had, and yeah, I would say that her Instagram followers are probably more devoted than the YouTube subscribers. So yeah, and there's 5 million of them. So absolutely, I would feel exceedingly worried if I was Jax Films.
I mean, it's a pretty evil thing to do, and I wouldn't be surprised if she got even more diabolical with it and turned his house into like a Pokemon Go stop or something.
Oh,
like,
Jesus
really
Christ.
Just trying to put their location out there as best she could.
That would be horrible.
And she did make another post that Jax Films also made a tweet about, where she was poking fun at this situation lightly, saying like, we pull up to your house, what would you do? Which is so unbelievably tone deaf that she doesn't understand the severity of what she did. The whole situation is fucked. I just wanted to give a little update here because it's already been like 5 days. So that's where everything's at. I guess we'll continue to wait and see what YouTube will or will not do. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.
Okay. Actually, yeah. I'm going to pop this to the Be Right Back, and I will find the suspension video and also go to the bathroom. So, be right back, you guys. Okay, I'm on solo cam for a moment because I'm gonna go grab the video really quick. And then I will switch back to the correct screen. I just have to go grab the next video. Perfect. Sniper Wolf apology and YouTube response.
Well, well, well.
What have we here? Santa Claus! Oh, wait. No, that's not it. Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay.
Well, well, well. What a day. This was quite a shocking twist here, like a Darman climax.
Oh, God.
We had YouTube finally issue
Fucking
a statement
Darman.
on what they're doing about the Sniper Wolf doxing situation, and we had Sniper Wolf herself, the life of the party, come forward and make an apology post.
Oh, a post! Not a video, but a post.
And what a wacky ride it's been. And in the wise, timeless words of Captain Barbosa, you best start believing in cringe stories. You're in one. Because this is an absolute fucking headache. I know I don't really need to give you any kind of lore breakdown to bring you up to speed because of how huge this story's become, but it just doesn't feel right if I don't at least set the table with some silverware, just in case you're a little hungry and don't know what's going on.
Give us some silverware, Charlie.
So, the briefest bullet points. Jax Films is a huge YouTuber. He called out another huge YouTuber named Sniper Wolf for her reaction content to TikToks where she was basically just blatantly stealing it, not really transforming it, and he criticized her for it. He even made a whole channel dedicated to making fun of her and criticizing her for it further.
Which is completely within fair use, and it's also in the grandest form of old-style YouTube.
So this led to this big stew of emotions and bad blood between the two of them. The stew bubbled over and started to spill when Sniper Wolf decided to dox Jax Films on her Instagram story where she showed up at his house and posted his house to her 5 million followers on Instagram, which obviously you can't do. That's a criminal act. Sniper Wolf shows up at Jax Films' door like the fucking hash-slinging slasher here, trick-or-treating when she wasn't invited, and claims that she was just trying to talk it out like adults.
Yeah, because that's totally normal. You just show up at somebody's house and post their home on your Instagram story and be like, I want to talk like adults.
No, this is not how adults handle any kind of situation.
No.
You can't just dox someone that you have beef with online. So the question then became, what is YouTube going to do about it? Because not only is this not allowed legally, it's not allowed on YouTube's terms, period. And historically, YouTube has been cutthroat with this kind of thing.
Usually, yeah, they don't fuck around.
They do not take doxing lightly. So, it's been about a week, and YouTube has finally broken their silence on what they plan to do. And man, what a fucking stinker. Boy, howdy, it would be less smelly in a porta potty. Take a peek at their tweet here.
Okay, this is the tweet he's going to talk about that I was mentioning here.
Today they spat this drivel out, confirming Sniper Wolf has received a temporary monetization suspension per creator responsibility policies. Off-platform actions that put others' personal safety at risk harm our community, and the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube.
Fuck you! So you don't want transformative criticism, commentary content on your platform anymore?
Hoping everyone helps move this convo to a better place. They actually just unironically dropped a both sides in this situation.
Yeah.
That is...
both sides. Like this is some fucking tiki torch bullshit in Charlottesville. No, bitch. There was no both sides here. This was all one-sided.
That is one of those things where you read it and it's like a flashbang hits you. Like all your senses go out and you have to question if what you just read was real. I don't even know how they were able to reach deep enough in their ass to pull out a both sides statement for this one.
Right?
Like, what did he do wrong? I don't know why they're trying to make it sound like he's also guilty in this, or maybe even, somewhat responsible and to blame for how this played out, which is kind of how it reads, like they're fucking victim blaming him here. Right?
Like, that's like saying we don't condone the behavior on both sides of this sexual assault. We don't condone the behavior on both sides of this murder case. What? What?
Like, what was his crime? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? This is Democracy Manifest. That's a classic Charles Doza line. I just had to slide in there. That just felt natural. But yeah, again, what did Jax Films do wrong? He is completely blameless here. There's no reason why they should be trying to make it sound like Jax Films did something wrong.
Yeah, like, all he did was, like I said, your old style form of YouTube where you're like, hey, this creator's fucking stealing shit and being a shitty creator. Look, here's my proof. Look, let's laugh at it. Like, that's fucking... That's what YouTube used to be. That was YouTube for, like, years. But what the fuck, man?
His only crime was being alive, which gave her the means to target him. Like, I really can't wrap my head around how they could even make it seem like Jax Films is even remotely in the wrong here. If they're trying to say that the criticisms that he keeps tossing towards Sniper Wolf is unwarranted, so the behavior is unacceptable, then that's even more delusional because there's nothing wrong with criticisms.
No. Like, criticisms are, first of all, they're what make you a better creator. And second of all, even as somebody that criticizes you badly has a point, and he's not even doing it badly. So what's the...
There's nothing wrong with making fun of Sniper Wolf's content. He has literally done nothing that warrants any level of blame or warrants this kind of response from Sniper Wolf to fucking dox him and publicly dox him and show up to his house. This was YouTube's chance for a big W here to finally prove they don't play favorites even with their most lucrative cash cows.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube really dropped the ball here. They could have made a lot of people feel at ease. They could have stuck up for the creative process as a whole, and they could have backed Jack's Films here. But nope, they decided to throw in a both sides.
This is one of those actions where it should have resulted in a harsh punishment, and YouTube had the opportunity to showcase, listen, we're gonna put the rumors to bed once and for all.
Do I
There's
have
no
Instagram?
favoritism
Yes.
on this platform. We all play by the same rules.
My Instagram is blind_press.
We all, put our pants on one leg at a time. Sniper Wolf is getting punished for doxing. We don't take it lightly. But they didn't. They were extremely slow and very clearly extremely reluctant to take even the lightest bit of action against her.
And it's only a temporary demonetization.
A temporary monetization suspension isn't the harshest punishment in the world. It is still a punishment, yes, but it's still more of like a slap on the wrist. We don't know how temporary it is. It could be like a fucking 10-hour monetary suspension.
Right.
Like, this is actually the scene in SpongeBob. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Shuts the door. Okay, you're free to go. And it's like just 2 seconds has elapsed.
Yeah. I remember that scene. That's exactly what this is. That's literally exactly what this is.
It's just not really what most people would have expected from this, because it's not really enough for most people, given the gravity of the situation here, where Jack's Films and his wife don't feel safe in their own home as a result of all of this. So this seems like a situation that they did just because they felt like they had to. There was too much backlash for them to continue to bury their head, so they did like the teeniest, tiniest little tiptoe into the pool of punishment, and they issued this temp monetization halt on Sniper Wolf's content. I imagine once all of this blows over, they'll flip it back on and it'll be back to business as usual for Sniper Wolf and YouTube.
Well, I don't like that. That makes me upset, and I really feel like oh yeah, the Jake Paul thing. Yep. And Logan Paul, too. They've done it with Logan Paul.
YouTube. I'm sure she'll RSVP at the next, creator summit for YouTube.
Yep.
Like, it's just not really satisfactory for the majority of people here. And to top it all off, it's the way YouTube delivers it. Again, trying the both sides thing is just, it's so crazy and delusional. Now, Sniper Wolf did also issue an apology post.
Oh boy.
She couldn't even be bothered to do an apology video. She put it on Twitter, which is by far her least large platform, to try and keep as many eyes off of it as she can from her audience. So,
wow. What a coward. She goes to Twitter. Wow.
At least as of right now, as of me making this, she hasn't made an apology video for her actual core audience to see. The timing of her apology statement is also very interesting because it comes almost immediately after YouTube's post. So this leads me to believe that Sniper Wolf and YouTube had some kind of handshake agreement where it'll be like a light punishment as long as she makes an apology on Twitter, and she obliged. Let me start by saying I'm sorry for my most recent actions. It is inexcusable.
I'm sorry for my most recent actions. That is a really weird way to say that. How about, I'm sorry for doxing Jack's Films? Not, I'm sorry for my most recent actions. Do you even know what you're apologizing for?
I'm sorry to Jack's Films, YouTube, the entire creator community, and my incredible fans for not being a better example for appropriate conflict resolution. Jack's Films, While we certainly don't see eye to eye and have our differences, I'm sorry for reacting the way I did when I should have taken the opportunity to show young creators how adults and professionals resolve conflict by communicating directly, respectfully, and privately.
Or you could have, like, looked at his content and gone, yeah, I am a content thief. Maybe I should fix that.
Not for views or content, but a meaningful example of how conflict should be solved. I will reach out directly and hope we can find some time to connect and communicate respectfully. I'd also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. I deserve it.
Ha!
Respect the decision and appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow from a true lapse in judgment. I don't really have too many thoughts on her apology. Anytime I even hear the phrase or read the phrase lapse in judgment, I just immediately think of the Logan Paul apology video.
Yeah.
But there's really nothing
I'm sorry I filmed dead people. It was a lapse in judgment.
she can say here. What she's done is absolutely indefensible. It's also very unlikely that she's being genuine here.
No, yeah.
I don't think she
Definitely
feels
not.
remorse for it or anything. She did immediately make light of it by saying, "We pull up to your house, what are you going to do?" on her Instagram story following all of this. So this really does seem like this was kind of forced on her by YouTube. Not even the backlash from her audience or everyone online. I think she still believes that what she did is okay. It's just YouTube made her do this. That's my working game theory here. That's the impression I get when she says thanks to YouTube for holding her accountable. That seems really fake. YouTube isn't really holding her accountable.
They're not. They're giving her a slap on the wrist, and she's like, this is like the dumbest, fakest shit ever. Oh, thank you, YouTube, for holding me accountable. Meanwhile, it's really thank you, YouTube, for not ending my career.
Temporarily suspending her monetization is a punishment, sure, but it's not exactly one that fits the crime, which is why so many people are dissatisfied with this whole situation and the way that it's concluding here. Unfortunately, it does seem like this is where the situation is wrapping up, and I don't think a lesson has been learned by Sniper Wolf nor by YouTube.
Not one bit.
I truly think that all of the backlash over the last week, the millions upon millions of people that have been talking about it nonstop, did not matter at all to either party. They just felt at some point, okay, fine, we'll do a little something so you guys can just shut up about it.
Yep.
And that's what we saw today. Pretty disappointing stuff overall. That's about it. So yeah.
That's how they function. That is how they function. Oh my goodness. Fucking people who always are like, women's menstruation are beautiful. Fuck off. Okay, where am I here? Am I the asshole for what I wore in front of my boyfriend's friend? Okay. Let's see. Let's see. It was really warm, surprisingly, and all I was wearing was a sports bra, sort of low cut, and kind of tight shorts. I sat on the couch next to my boyfriend for a little while whilst they played some game on the TV, and then I went to get some lunch. By the time I was finished eating, they had left, and my boyfriend completely blew up at me. He said I was dressed like that for attention. I made all his friends stare at me. I knew what I was doing, and I should have covered up as soon as I saw them. He stormed out, and since he came home, he has barely spoken to me. Am I the asshole? Should I have worn something less revealing? Dude, get a new fucking boyfriend. I'm sorry, if your boyfriend is so insecure that he can't deal with you being in a fucking sports bra and shorts in front of his friends, and if they're staring, him being like, that's right, she's mine, haha. If that's it, if that's all, holy shit, dude. Get a new boyfriend. Let's see what these comments say. Hold on. Let's get some comments here. Not the asshole. Wear what you like. It's a sport wear. Not suggestive lace underwear. So your boyfriend's seeking attention angle is off. If his, to be honest, if his roommates were leering over you, that's on him, not you. Yep. Let's see. Wait, whoa. You said in your comments you would not want your boyfriend wearing boxer shorts and nothing more if your friends were around, yet you don't see an issue wearing a bra and tight shorts in front of his friends. You're an asshole and desperate for attention, eesh. No, because boxers are underwear and shorts are not, and a sports bra is a fucking reasonable top. Wow. I think there's a difference between wearing boxers, yeah, and gym wear, yep. Boxers are underwear, shorts aren't, yep. What about bras? Nope. It's a sports bra. Plenty of women when going out to the gym or in the comfort of their own home. Yep. If you have an arguments against this, please read some of the replies first. I've been making the same 5 points over and over again. Before you mention swimwear, being naked, boyfriend going shortless, or anything, read my replies to find the response. Thank you. I have on multiple occasions worn only a sports bra and shorts at work on a farm with other people. It's not sexual at all. It's comfortable. Right? If the equivalent is a dude not wearing a shirt, yes, it can be for comfort and not sexual. Yep. This is... you need a new boyfriend, dude. That's what you need. Oh god, I am the main character.
This is proof that I believe in others.
Hear my voice and
what
return
the
to me.
fuck?
Thus
oh god. Do I even want to know?
And the death we have been too long denied.
Oh my god, is this Soul
If
Calibur?
there is a chance I could save others with that power, then I have to try.
Together, our light can pierce blackest darkness.
What the fuck video was that? That makes no sense. How to do a what? I have no idea what this is. This is, yeah, I don't know what this is. Where am I here? People who actively act like a piece of shit. Oh, this is a Reddit video, I think. Why is this not playing? Oh, because it's muted. Okay, I have no idea what this is about or the context.
This never-before-seen footage shows a Portland man plowing past barricades,
Oh.
nearly hitting several people along
Lovely.
the Rose Festival's Grand Floral Parade route in June. Sydney Meacham is facing felony charges
Piece of
for
shit.
the alleged road rage incident. At the time, there was no clear motive for his speeding toward children and
What
families.
an asshole.
The 30-minute recording submitted as evidence in a preventative detention hearing provides new insight into the June 10th incident. The dashcam video shows Meacham become increasingly frustrated by heavy traffic. His music is blaring as Meacham heads towards the Moda Center in North Portland, where he plans to
Dude,
meet
it's
others,
just a
including his
fucking
mother.
parade.
ODOT crews had blocked off numerous exits to help keep traffic away from the parade route.
They got it all blocked out. The Lloyd Center exit, the Convention Center exit, every motherfucking exit. You
Dude!
The video shows
Holy
Meacham driving
shit,
through a row of
dude.
barricades before blowing past ODOT crews blocking the exit ramp.
What the fuck is your problem? And your speakers are fucking fraying with your music. What the fuck, dude?
A Portland police motorcycle officer chased after Meacham's truck
Good.
before pulling up beside him. The officer shouted for Meacham to stop, but he refused.
What
the truck
the
eventually
fuck?
turned, exiting the parade
Piece
route.
of garbage.
Meacham drove through barricades, nearly hitting several people. An unmarked
He's
police
lucky
SUV
he didn't.
attempted to stop Meacham at a red light in Portland's Lloyd district, but he drove off. The video showed Meacham continuing to drive for several blocks until he eventually stopped
why?
with other officers in northeast Portland. Meacham, a registered sex offender, was arrested and taken to jail.
Of fucking
where he remained
course.
While awaiting trial.
Of course. He's a fucking sex
Meacham is pleaded
offender.
Not guilty to 38 counts related to the alleged road rage incident, including felony charges of unlawful use of a weapon and attempting to elude police. No trial date has been set.
Jordan says, if that was my girlfriend, I would take pride in that. Exactly. Yep, exactly, Jordan. But wow, what a piece of garbage. Just, it's a fucking parade. Like, and it's Portland. It's not like it's a tiny town. Fucking find another route. Holy shit, dude. Just wow. Just fucking wow. Holy shit, we've done it all, dude. We've done it all. We've done everything. I can't believe it. We got through it all and I didn't do any dozing off. Hooray! Oh, this is good. Alright, I am gonna go find some lunch. And I thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I will be back tomorrow. And who knows? Maybe I'll be up early enough to play some Mortal Kombat. We'll see. But I do thank you all for hanging out with me today. And I hope you enjoyed yourselves. And I will see you later on. Bye, everybody.